Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell the truth about silver. Today is Friday, the 27th of August, 2021. And we're producing our gold and silver morning update and price forecast. Gold and silver rise ahead of Jackson Hole Symposium. So we'd better take a look. To Illuminati Silver. It's Friday, 27th of August, 2021, 09:09 AM GMT +1. It's a glorious morning, sun shining, heat wave descending upon us, we wonder? Well, there's certainly a lot of heat going on in the world today, that's for sure. Main headline: Deadly Kabul attack shakes Biden's Afghan exit strategy. We won't go into that, but we know exactly what's going on there. Economically, London house prices surge in place where more people go hungry. What the devil is that about? A 15-minute walk from the £1 million apartments in London's leafy Primrose Hill neighbourhood, which is where our former Prime Minister David Cameron came from, and we think still lives, not sure though. The local community association is handing out food parcels to about 500 residents a month. The pandemic has pulled the fortunes of British consumers in two different directions, with those who are growing wealthy on properties increasingly living near people who can barely get enough to eat. The borough of Camden, just north of the city centre, is a prime example. In the neighbourhood known for its sprawling street market, home values have surged 10% in the past year to £1.1 million, or $1.5 million. In the same district, 16% of adults struggle to get food at least once in a month. The gap between the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots, is quite significant. And one thing is for sure, it is a much better feeling and life to be rich than it is to be poor. The question, though, is what do you do with that money? Are you benevolent or purely narcissistic and mean? Stock steady. US equity index futures advanced and European stocks were steady ahead of Friday's key Federal Reserve gathering that may offer clues about the timeline for tapering stimulus. Now, this Federal Reserve gathering is, of course, the symposium that we've been talking about all week, the Jackson Hole Symposium. Treasury yields edged lower and the dollar slipped as traders awaited Fed Chair Jerome Powell's speech at the Jackson Hole Symposium, with data on personal consumption and spending before that also on the radar. We've said all week, today is the important day for economic data coming out of the United States. A flood of Treasury options expiring Friday raised the prospect for volatility after Powell's remarks. Some Fed officials overnight said the time to start tapering stimulus is near, weighing on the S&P 500, which dipped from a record. President Joe Biden's advisors are considering backing Powell for a second term, a step that could bolster expectations of continuity in accommodative monetary policy. So today is the day we shall see some moves. Well, one thing that is certainly moving are businesses in the UK moving out, not necessarily out of the country, but out of business. UK loses 83% of department stores over 5 years. Now that is worrying. What has caused this? The Amazon effect. Oh, that's our conclusion. Apple chief executive Tim Cook gets a $750 million payout. The award of more than 5 million Apple shares come as Mr. Cook marks a decade as the firm's boss. Do we begrudge company owners receiving huge salaries and huge bonuses? No, if they've deliberately turned their company into an incredibly successful organization, we do not. That's the free market, that's capitalism. Whether, of course, someone is worth $1 billion a year or nearly a $1 billion payout in 1 year, it's very difficult to answer that in truth. But he's been there a while. Therefore, one could argue he has produced enormous wealth for shareholders and, of course, for employees too. Perhaps we're just looking with a little bit of envy, perhaps. Peloton cuts price of bike as sales growth slows. Look at this. Talk about cryptos. 12-year-old boy makes £290,000 from whale NFTs. Benjamin Ahmed created a set of more than 3,000 whale images and sold digital tokens of them. That's the future. We're all buying digital. Forget our Rembrandts, our Picassos. We want digital whales. Oh my God. United States. Okay, more on Afghanistan. Supreme Court blocks Biden's anti-eviction measure. And more or less, it's the virus as well. Let's look what's happening to the markets. Dollar index. Marginally down today, but was, as we said yesterday, would tip over 93. It has tipped over 93. It's gone very marginally just below 93 at 92.9950. Difficult to get much closer. Oils up $1, 68 for WTI, 72 for Brent. Equity markets yesterday broadly down 0.5% in the United States. Asia overnight, similar trend, but down perhaps only 1/3%. And UK and European markets are open now, been open at just a short time, and we can see that they are broadly up, but only just. So these can move in either direction today. As mentioned, the important day for data is today. Friday, we got personal income, consumer spending, core PCE price index, trading goods advance, and the UMich consumer sentiment. And this is where all reporters' eyes will be aimed at, and analysts too. Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaks at virtual Jackson Hole Symposium. Just a referral to yesterday, the initial jobless claims actually came in higher than they were the previous week and higher than expectations. 3,000. Not huge significance, but maybe painting a slightly adverse trend. Who knows? It's only week on week. It's going to be difficult for Fed Chair Jerome Powell to be too hawkish in view of the data we've had this week, where manufacturing flash PMIs were lower than expectations, the services PMIs were lower than expectations. Durable goods orders, though, were slightly better. Let's wait and see what Powell says and how his comments are interpreted. So, on the back of that, gold back over 1,800. Took a bit of a splurge over the last 24 hours. We were pretty much sort of depressed is the wrong word, but anxious that it had dipped to where it had yesterday. Thinking all of the market sentiment, when we look at the $3.1 or $2 trillion package going through the House, is likely to act as a significant tailwind for gold, and we saw it languishing in the 1780 category. Well, it's back over 1,800. Is it sustainable? A lot depends now on what's announced today. Going over to silver. Silver is up just 1 cent over the last 24 hours and is trading at 23.70. Now, when we compare that for the week, we can see it is an improvement, no doubt, because it started the week at 23.05. But silver is caught in this trap. It's got the tailwind that gold has, like if the dollar falls, and also, of course, the situation vis-a-vis public spending increasing dramatically. But then it's got the headwind that the reason all these things are occurring is because the economy is not as robust as many were anticipating, and so the industrial demand, or the envisaged industrial demand for sure, is being adversely affected, and therefore prices are held down. So you have this competing force. Cryptocurrencies rising this morning, not hugely, but up 1%, which in crypto land's nothing, but in the world of investment is quite encouraging, to say the least. And cryptos are back up now to the market cap to 2.02%. Sorry, $2.02 trillion, 0.39% over the last 24 hours. Bitcoin's rising to up almost 1%. That's it for now. It's a Friday. We'll be brief on a Friday. Don't forget, we have our weekly update tomorrow. And the video that we did promise last weekend, we will be publishing tomorrow, because we'll include then what is actually said at the Jackson Hole Symposium. And we will round that out nicely tomorrow, and then perhaps repeat both videos on Sunday. Thank you so much for listening. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, press the bell sign. Have a great day. We're off shopping now. We've got a bank holiday ahead of us, so we thought we'd better get to those shops before the masses do. Illuminati silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice, and merely represent the personal views of its owners.